Welcome to Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis. Today, we are going to talk about what's the best racket for you. What is the right racket for you? Stay tuned. Hey guys, are you learning or are you trying to improve your tennis? Are you taking a 1 hour lesson a week or possibly 2 1-hour lessons a week? But are you playing in between? If you're like me and I tried to learn to play the drums, in a 6-month period, I played the drums 30 minutes every week, only during the lessons. So if you want to accelerate your progress in tennis, get a fast track. Because if you're not practicing in between and you don't have a game, at least you can hit 1,000 forehands and 1,000 backhands. That's what the fast track does. It gets your game going. It gets your muscles memorized. So guys, get your game on the fast track and accelerate the progress that you get from your lessons. Click on the link below and get your tennis on the fast track. All right, so many people come in and say, what's the best racket? And as I've told you in previous videos, the best racket is the best one for you. Now, depending upon who you are and what you're looking for will depend on which racket would suit you the best. Now, we're going to start with people who just want to play, Coach.
Without much experience.
Exactly.
Just want to go like first racket purchase.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we're going to walk into like a Big Five or a Dick's and get something that's pre-strung.
Sports basement.
Yep. That's pre-strung, and maybe like a starting point of $50 or under $100 somewhere. Most of those rackets are going to be like 100 square inch head, 102, maybe up to 104.
Right.
And in that 10-ounce realm, like most of them. And depending upon your skill level will depend on which one you get. Now, if you're, let's say, pretty young, 20s, 30s, 40s, maybe up to 50s, those are perfect and they suit you perfectly, like a 10-ounce racket, unstrung, because all the specs that are in the rackets are unstrung specs, okay? So keep that in mind. Strung specs on a 10-ounce racket will be around 10.6 to 10.7, and that is probably going to be perfect for what your need is. Now, where we run into problems is there's lighter rackets than that, and there's lighter and bigger rackets than that. So we're going to go up all the way up to like 115 to bigger, and you're going to go down to like 9 ounces. That is not for most people, but most people will play with that and immediately be fine and dandy. But why would we not want something that light and that big?
Well, usually it's very powerful.
Correct.
So you're looking for someone who can't generate their own power, meaning they probably have a short, compact stroke.
Right.
Which tends to lead to the older demographic.
Right.
And they need a bigger head, more power. They can't generate their own power. So that's usually those models are kind of designed for somebody looking for those.
Now, what would happen, and I've seen it a lot in the last 30 years, is you take a head TIS6 out, which is like 115, 113, 9-ounce racket, and you just go out with your boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, whoever plays, and you just get 2 of those, and you start playing.
Correct.
Right? What happens?
It's got a lot of power. The ball goes sailing, and you have a very short, choppy stroke when you probably are at the age where you still can generate power and should have a longer, more fluid stroke.
Right. I feel like,
assuming they took some lessons and learned how to.
well, that's the thing though. I feel like the people who are getting those rackets may have never taken a lesson in their
Correct.
life, or have played when they were very, very young,
Right.
and are just they just want
Getting
rackets
back
to
into
whack
it.
with.
Sure.
Yeah. And so what happens when you go to a big racket like that to 100 is you just have to redesign your
And you
stroke
have to
again.
watch the ball. You have to stroke the ball, not just whack the ball.
Push.
Yeah.
So we suggest that you stay in that 10-ounce realm. Okay, don't go after the big stuff. It's easy because most people's mindset is lighter and bigger. I don't know where that came from, but it's not good for most people, right? Most people. And I feel like even the cheapy aluminums that you can get at the Targets and the Walmarts are like 113, and they're big, right? And they're semi-powerful because they are big, but they're aluminum, so they are flexible.
And when you're starting, if you don't have great eye-hand coordination or whatever, you want to have something where that you can genuinely have some success in keeping
Right.
the ball going back and forth. When you go out, if you start with a super small head size, now it might be more of a struggle. So trying to find that right balance.
Right. And that's where like the 100 comes into play. Now, first off, 100, now we're going to move up a little bit now, out of the big box stuff into like a specialty or online store now. You're going to see a ton of rackets out there in the 98 realm and the 100 realm. The 100 realm, let's go start there, has like the number one weight of those will be 300 grams, 10.6 ounces. The number two best selling in that realm is slightly lighter, 285 or 290 grams. Now, when you go head to head with the 200s that way, most people, for some reason, that are not in the know, go for lighter. Like I just had a couple people last week. They were men in their 20s, and they brought in a racket for me to string, brand new. They got it on sale, 290 grams. I'm like, why did you buy this? Because it's lighter. I'm like, how much do you weigh? Not that it really matters, but I mean, they were like 190 pounds, 5'8", right? Probably can handle the bigger racket, right? I mean, I had somebody online email me. They bought a Clash 100 Lite, right? Same demographic, in their 20s. They bought a 100 now. Love the 100. So they're asking me how to weigh up the Lite like the 100, when they probably should have just went for the 100 in the beginning. So,
and maybe they didn't know that when they did it.
Right.
And then they realized, oh, wait, this is light. Can I make it heavier?
Right. Which you can, and I will teach you how. But,
which we have.
Yes. But I feel like most people that are in that demographic, for some reason, think light, which you probably shouldn't, because in the newer rackets, they balance them out where the heavier the racket is, the head lighter it is. The lighter the racket is, the more head heavier it is. So don't be afraid of it being too heavy, is what I'm telling you, okay? So in the 100 category, there are so many options there. I would say any of the major brands that are in the 300 realm, right? You're gonna see 10.6 on a lot of rackets, right? As long as you're buying it from Babolat, Wilson, right? Solinco, right? The Blackout. Even the new Nordicdots 100 is great. Like any of those that are, premium rackets will be fine. There is nothing wrong with them.
Don't forget Wilson.
Oh yeah, shoot, Wilson. Of course, Wilson. Ultras, Clashes. Am I missing any?
Shift.
Shifts. Those are 99s. Like any of those will suit you perfectly as long as it's got the right feel for you. Burn is a price point racket now. So you can get those for the 160 to 180 range, depending on which one. And so here's the thing about any of those lines. You can get them in the 300 gram and you can get them in the 290 gram also. And some of them, those lines go on forever. They start at like 270 in the weight class, and then they go up to sometimes 305, sometimes 315. So don't be afraid to go a little heavier, is what I'm saying. Now, 98s now. So you're a better player or you're a stronger player and you're wanting more control. Now, this is one of the most saturated markets out there now. Coach, 98 Wilson, what do you think of?
I would go with the blade.
Right. See?
Pro staff.
97 on
97,
that. Right.
But
and then we have Fed. Right? Like that's in realm. There's just so many like Solinko, Yonex, Radicals. Every company's coming out with a 98 in almost every one of their lines. And it's getting way, way saturated. How do you choose one of them though? They're all 10.8, which is 305 grams. They all are weighted right around the same. Do you want more spin with like a Arrow 98? You want more plow with, let's say, a Pure Drive 98? Or, right, do you want something in the middle? Or do you want way more control like with a Blade 98? That's what you have to decide. But they're all gonna be in that weight class. Head lighter, head heavier. More power, more spin. More plow, right? That's where you have to determine where you lie there, okay? Now, it gets tough on those because everybody's got one. One of my favorites is obviously my whiteout that just came out in the camo. The Extreme Pro is a great one. If you want kind of all around, get some easy points there. You want to work, Blade 98, right, is it. The ultimate college player's racket is that racket, okay? Now, when we went heavier now, when do we really go into a bigger racket? Now, I'm not talking about big giant rackets. I'm talking about 102s, 105s, 110s.
Well, that would be when you are mishitting too many balls with the smaller head size, or it's too heavy and you need something a little lighter and a little bigger. So it could be more the starting point, or you're aging up and you need a little more assistance.
What if I'm the beginner that really, I don't care if I get better. I just want a big racket so I can whack.
Okay.
Right? That works too.
Sure.
Right? I don't really care. I'm just going to go out there and be a hack.
Right.
If you're that person, stick with big rackets, stick with light rackets, because it really doesn't matter. You're not in it to play matches. You're not in it to play league. Keep going that route. As long as you're out there playing, that's what's most important.
Because the more you play, the more you will start to maybe work into those avenues and want to then improve and go, oh wait, now I can try some different rackets, and I've played enough where I can tell weight and head size matters in your own game.
Right. Let's go into your mother here. Your mother is playing with a big head racket, 120?
I think so.
Square inch head.
Yeah.
And she never breaks strings and gets string drop once a year.
Yep.
We're into like Torbite or Hyper G20 here.
And then we know we did that, and that was the Hyper G was the line.
The green one.
Then she went a year with that, and then we went Torbite.
Right.
20.
Okay. So we're Torbite 20 now.
20, yeah.
Is she doing good with that?
So far, her and her friends the other day were looking at rackets and looking at their rackets and wondering if they should get restrung. And they noticed how my mom's strings was much thinner than this other woman's racket. Her strings, she was using, this is also lady is a woman who is 90 years old, and she was using a vocal with the beam, the power bridge that when you string it, you just cross your fingers, it doesn't go snap.
Right.
That racket, and she had Babolat Origin, which has been disconnected.
It discontinued.
Yes,
that's correct.
The grip looked like it had been on there.
Original?
No, it was a Babolat. So it had been on there a long time though, because it was like molded into the you had to really work to get it off.
Got it. Obviously, you changed the grip.
I changed the grip and changed the string to the Babolat Exalt.
Okay.
Which is what Harry recommended would be something similar to the
Origin that's no longer around.
Right.
Okay. But 90 years old, you want something bigger.
Yes.
You need something more powerful. Your game is no longer here. It's here. So
you're playing doubles, you're bunting the ball, you're happy you make the serve. Yeah. All of us are happy they stay upright.
Right.
No one
exactly.
Eats it. Don't fall, don't trip, let it bounce twice.
Stay upright.
Yeah.
Right. So older player, I mean, I'm not saying, well, I am saying that a 90-year-old person should use a racket like that, but I'm thinking like in the 60s.
They've graduated.
Yeah.
They've gone from, they started with wood, went to metal, went to, from the 95s to the 98 to the
the 100,
and they went 110, right? And it's because back in the day it was mid-size, oversized, and now it's like now you're going ginormous size.
Yeah, but you need it. You need it.
Right.
That's the thing. Like that's why I feel like oversized rackets, people kind of need it because you're not getting around so fast anymore.
Right.
So I hope that we kind of shed a little bit of light on, the types of rackets that you should get depending on the level that you are. Don't buy a light racket just because it says light. It's. I mean, I can understand if you're drinking a light beer, maybe you're counting calories, but
drink water instead.
Right. Exactly. It's like just get the right racket that you're gonna grow into. Don't get the racket that you think you need because of disadvantages that you think you have, because you'll regret it and you'll wind up buying what you probably thought that you needed in the first place.
And that's why they have demo programs.
Yeah.
Use the demo program. Get a couple different rackets and try them.
Yeah, but I feel like I'm telling...
Depending on where you are in the spectrum of...
Right. I feel like I'm telling people because... a lot of people have emailed me and said, I don't have a store here. I don't have a place that I can demo rackets.
Right. But don't the websites have...
Well, no, these people are in obscure places. They're not in America.
Oh, okay. So yeah. Amazon can't find them yet.
Okay. No, it's like I'm from Sri Lanka and I can only buy rackets. There is no store here. It's like those type of people. And they're really limited to what they can buy too, which is, we're kind of spoiled where we are.
Correct.
But in a lot of places, it's like Pure Drive or Blade, kind of a thing. Which one? Nothing else is going to be here for you to buy.
Right.
So guys, like I said, hopefully we shed some light on what rackets you should be looking at. Obviously, weight is important. I explained a little bit about balance. So remember, the lighter the racket, the more head heavier it is. And just wherever you are and where you want to be, if you want to be better, buy the racket that's better that you can grow into. One level up, okay? One level up. Don't get a Fed if you're, if you don't think you can get to that. Unless you love Fed, then by all means buy it because it'll inspire you to play. And that's the other thing, is a lot of people bought Fed rackets because they love Fed, right? But I feel like that's fine. You love Fed, you now love the game. Keep playing. Coach Rob, thank you for being with me and sharing all of your experiences, and of course to Mama Jessen.
No problem.
You know, for kind of going through the gamut of wood to 120.
Right.
Wow.
Different materials, different weights, different all of those things. Yeah.
Different eras.
Absolutely.
Guys, thank you for watching Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis.